Well, it's been a long journey of my life. I was born and raised in the Herndon, Chantilly area. I grew up on a dairy farm, about third generation dairy farmers. Dad was a big cattle breeder and registered cattle and used to selling cattle at a young age, and it always made an impression on me because I realized he had good cattle. The name of his farm was Dairy Lou, and it's now Franklin Farms, if those of you around here know where that is. But that was where I grew up as a young kid. And then I got involved in 4-H at the age of, when I was about 10 years of age, and that would have been in 1949. I bought my first calf, and from there on I went and was active in 4-H for about 10 years. A farm community is always supportive of each other in good and bad times, and I think that's one thing that always attracted me to the farm community, because it's a close-knit group of people. The Sunday school teacher that I had in my church, the Methodist church, and also another choir director, both who were teachers here in Loudoun County, both were graduates of Bridgewater College. And they asked, if I would consider possibly going to Bridgewater College up in the Valley, which is a small school. It had a pre-agriculture course. I went there for a year and a half, loved it, got involved with a lot of things, particularly touring choir, and was involved with writing with the newspaper and that type of thing. Enjoyed my life there, and then transferred to Virginia Tech and graduated on time in Tech in 1960 with a degree in agriculture, and that's been a real meaningful to me throughout my life, obviously. It all came about, I finished at college at 60 and went home and farmed at the dairy farm for 3 years. But she graduated in 1961, and one day I picked up the county paper and noticed that she was coming to Fairfax as a county agent in Fairfax. And I read a lot of information about her. That was about August, and she showed up at the county fair, and I was treasurer of the county fair, and I asked her out for a date within a week, and we started dating in September and married in May of '62. And that was the best day of my life of finding Polly, because she's a very talented lady, just a wonderful person who's had a tremendous impact on me and by my right-hand side all the time in everything I've done, and enabled me to do a lot of the things here in Loudoun County, because she's always been right there helping me, right beside me, helping every day of my life. I became county agent here in the county for the simple reason I had worked a lot with people here in Loudoun and showing cattle. I came to educational meetings in the county here. I was a young man, but I was very active here in the county. The people knew me. They had the position open as assistant county agent here in the county. And at that time, my wife was pregnant with our first child, and I said, maybe I better do something that's a little bit more, that I have a little more stability, and came in April of '63 and was county agent here for almost 30 years. So the Heritage Farm Museum is something I'm very, very proud of, and it's something as I retired and have given my life to, helping get that going. A friend of mine happened to be Dr. Terry Scherer, and Dr. Scherer was head of the Agriculture Museum, a curator at Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., and he's a good friend of mine. I said, Terry, I am concerned, since we've opened up Dulles Airport and the Greenway, our traditional agriculture that we know today is leaving here fast. If we don't do something to preserve 300 years of history, we're going to lose it. A few of us got together and talked about it, and we started talking about a plan of trying to get the museum to going and getting it going. And that was in 1995, and we saw that we started looking around to where we could put this museum, and we looked at several tracts of land in different places, including Morven Park, but it didn't work there. But there was a group down in Sterling called Lanesville Heritage Group, which was putting together a group down there, and they were an advisory board to the county, and they heard about what we were trying to do, and they said, gentlemen, would you come down and take a look, see what we have? So they had an old home there that Dr. Claude Moore had down at Claude Moore Park. It was a home of 1700s, a lot of history there. They had barns that were not kind of in shambles, but had opportunities. And we saw an opportunity to do something. So obviously, several of us got together and started rounding up people that we knew that had a genuine interest in preserving a history. And the county bought into our concept of putting a museum there. The museum was officially opened in 2003. We've preserved 300 years of history, of agriculture history in that museum. It continues to grow, but we're very excited about our museum. It attracts a lot of people locally, and also when people are traveling, they hear about the museum or come in and see this museum. We're very proud of what we have there, and I'm glad I could be a part of that. Well, I think one of the most important events that have shaped my life is the day perhaps I was working with a 4-H club up in Lincoln. That was the day President Kennedy was assassinated. It had a tremendous impact on me. I said, let's live every day to the fullest and make the best of it, and help everybody else do the same thing if we can, because that was a devastating day. I would hope that my legacy would be of service to others and working with other people, because that's been a goal of my life. I've had so many people help me in my life, and I in turn wanted to try to help others, and I hope I've had somewhat of an impact on other people.